The company was first started 1957, long history. That time my family was not involved. It was some group of local Kuching businessmen. The original company was called Green Spot from an American company. And the company was bleeding money, and all the creditors were chasing, everybody was saying, hey, we will close down like tomorrow, day after tomorrow. They get bank loans, get more and more, So if somebody didn't stop the bleeding, I think, it's not that the company bankrupt. Probably my parents would have gone bankrupt also.
Sarawak, home to nearly 2.5 million ethnically and culturally diverse people, is the third largest contributor to Malaysia's economy, thanks to its abundant natural resources and thriving ecosystem. But down on the home front, local businesses have been making their own marks in their community over the years. In this series, we meet some of the most innovative and aspiring Sarawakians today to find out why they do what they do and how they do it. Every year, family and friends across Sarawak come together to celebrate a variety of cultural and religious festivals. And in typical Malaysian fashion, each household would open its gates to visitors and exchange stories over, you guess it, food. Among the colourful and seasonal snacks offered to guests, there's also the unassuming black can of orange juice, served no matter the occasion, in every household for nearly 4 decades. Sundrop's orange juice is a common sight for many who grow on Borneo Island. But what they don't know is that the beloved beverage comes from somewhere closer to home, Kuching, Sarawak. But before it was Sundrop, it was Green Spot. It's 1957. Sarawak was still under British rule. A group of businessmen had just bought a beverage manufacturing franchise from an American company, Green Spot International. Its signature product was orange juice. As a franchisee, Green Spot Borneo had rode on the success of its parent company in the States, including its formulation and technical know-how, until one day, it all stopped.
Because my uncles who were originally bought over this company, they were in the timber business, So from running a timber business to running a consumer business is entirely different, which, during those times, these are not very educated people, They don't know anything about running a business. They don't know anything about manufacturing or drink. All the know-how come from the American. And then the American themselves were facing problems already, in the US. So they had to sell off the company to somebody, American. They keep arranging the business, and eventually they don't make profit, they just chuck it aside. So they ran out of debts and that kind of thing. The company was fast going downhill.
The business changed hands once again, this time to an English teacher from St. Mary's School, Madam Tor, who is the sister to the businessman. Together with her husband, they took over the company in hopes of reviving it.
They took up a lot of bank loans, and then eventually the get bank loans get more and more, So if somebody didn't stop the bleeding, I think, it's not that the company bankrupt. Probably my parents would have gone bankrupt also.
Mr. Lim Yu Kong had just started a job after graduating in mechanical engineering in the UK. Faced with a hurdle on their own, the couple finally approached their son for help.
The first thing that I did when I joined the company, it took me a very short time to realize the problems were very long and very deep, which cannot be resolved overnight. So the first project is a matter of life and death, is that we have to get the ingredient, the formulation, how to replicate. And basically what we did was, I travel the world. We go to the US, go to America, see how people do it. So it's a very tough job, because everything about business, from accounts to manufacturing to marketing, you all have to do, because if one factor is missing, the company cannot succeed already. And the first product we did was Sundrop, which luckily we managed to duplicate it. The story is very long, how we get all the formula, but that one is a company secret which I can't tell you. But it took many years of struggle and all this.
Mr. Lim had not only successfully replicated the orange juice formula, but he was also one of the pioneers in digitizing the workplace in Kuching.
I believe I bought one of the first microcomputers in Kuching. So we started transferring the accounts from manual to computerization. At that time when we started, nobody knows anything about software. There's no software around. You ask for programmer, you can't find. And then basically you just have to go and read all the manuals and do it yourself with it. So that software exists even up to today. The one I developed 40 years ago is still relevant today.
Not only is the software still relevant today to the company, some employees have remained loyal to the Lim family since the Green Spot era. Linda was fresh out of St. Mary's Secondary School when she landed her first job with the company.
It was still known, those days it was still known as Green Spot. Yeah, Green Spot still under the American franchise. So I came here for interview by our senior director, Madam Tor Asong, the late Madam Tor. So she was the one who interviewed me. I studied in St. Mary's coincidentally, our late director, Madam Tor, she used to be a teacher there. I think until today, I still think that why she hired me is because I'm a Marian. Because she teaches, she taught at St. Mary's. My boss, Mr. Lim, was still very young then.
It was in the early days of Green Spot where Mr. Lim met his wife, Madam Ding.
This is Mr. Lim Chung Ho, and this is Mrs. Lim. Because all time they have this coffee shop association, they come to visit us. So they introduce our drinks. This is the old time. You can see the cans are very old.
Actually, we knew each other through his friend. The friend introduced him to me. So we met up. That's how it goes. Yeah. Once we are engaged, then Mr. Ling asked me to join him, this company, Sundrop. We had 2 boys and 2 girls. My second children, my daughter, the eldest, is joining Sundrop now, helping with the digital marketing.
When we come back, we'll delve into the production process at Sundrop's manufacturing plant and discover how the legacy of Sundrop keeps up with the modern times. Sundrop Fruit Juices is a Sarawak-based company run by the Lim family for the past 2 generations. It is now coming to its turn. The eldest daughter of 4, Sharon Lim, officially joined the family business 4 years ago. She now oversees the company's digital marketing and sales arm.
I came back from UK. I studied in Manchester to complete my degree in economics. I've been here since I was very young, so I grew up in this factory. We work here during the school holidays, packing and making carton boxes. I think I earn 5 cents per carton box.
Me and Mr. Ling was happy that she liked to join us, but we like to guide her along and then together, and then prepare this business for her and the brother, to make it into an international brand.
It will be interesting to see how the company will be turn out in the future under a different generation.
First of all, my children, I will give them freedom of choice. It depends on their interest. You cannot say you force them to do this kind of business. It may not be their interest, But secondly, I did emphasize to them that doing a business is not only about making money. They put it this way. If you make a lot of money, the easiest way is to go and rob a bank. Whatever. But one thing I did tell my children is that when you join, the business is on the proper footing, not like us, the past where we had to struggle like hell.
Sundrop's production plant has been standing on the same site since the colonial years. Today, it has over 50 staff members. Despite cutting ties with its American parent company years ago, the equipment and machinery used during the Green Spot era remain an integral part of Sundrop operation and continues to operate to this day.
So this will be the empty cans coming from our suppliers that we brought up here. So now you see it's our orange juice. So it will be the empty cans will go through this assembly to go down to the syrup room downstairs. Okay, so we're at the end of the filling station, as in like over there is a syrup room where it's been filled, and it will automatically come out here, ready to be pasteurized. So okay, so inside there you're not allowed to film because it's a trade secret. However, we're making our drinks, so only this part will be shown. So the filling part is inside there. It will come out through here. This is the pasteurization. This is only for the fruit juices, and this is where it will be like loaded into the assembly line for packing. And yeah, today ours is the orange juice, our most famous drink. Our machine's been running here since like I think even Green Spot days, which is probably 50 plus years ago. But the machine quality back then is very good, so we're still able to use it.
The beverages were originally packaged in glass bottles, but this entailed higher operating expenses and serious health concerns.
Because the bottles are made of glass, very heavy, and then it's a health hazard in the coffee shop because once they open the bottle, they leave it lying around. Then all these dengue, mosquito go there, and then you have to find laborers to go and collect back the bottles, and you have to use huge machine to wash the bottles and all these things.
Canning the beverages was already considered a technology ahead of its time, especially in Sarawak. But Mr. Lim's innovative spirit and determination did not stop there.
So this is the coffee roasting part. As in like we ship in the green beans and then we'll go through the roasting process. So this is one of my dad's like projects. On the first his creation. This is his most precious. This is like very difficult to launch in the beginning. So obviously we went through some hurdles, but we finally managed to do something that we can manage to launch successfully into a product.
So I give you an example. If you do an orange drink, the process step may be 10 process step. The coffee, the process step can be 30 or 40.
It was very difficult to launch because he had to study about coffee beans, he had to go to San Francisco for lessons, learning about the process.
What type of coffee bean are you using? What grade are you using? What is the moisture content of coffee is all different. How you roast the coffee. The roasting is already an art by itself. Or you want a medium roast, you want a light roast, you want a dark roast, Arabica how many percent, Robusta how many percent, how you brew the coffee. And if any one of those process steps you screw up, the thing is gone.
Mr. Lim credits his background in mechanical engineering for being able to design a process that produces freshly brewed canned coffee. Sundrop went on to become the first local manufacturer to introduce ready-to-drink coffee in a can.
And then finally we managed to make a successful product, which is the milk coffee and our milk coffee and our black coffee, which is doing quite well. It has a very intense flavor.
The final process is loading the cans into a retort, which sterilizes the products before packaging. Each round of sterilization takes 25 to 30 minutes.
So we're at the auto packing time. That's my dad. He's always around in the production line because he has to make sure that it's running smoothly. Very hardworking.
He's very determined person. When he tries to do something, he will make sure in one way or another to make sure he try his best to do it. Just like he deals with all these drinks recipe, he will, all those flavors actually is from him.
Well, my grandma took over the business from her uncle, and then my dad took over when he was around my age. So they've been working. They actually have a very hard work kind of ethic, and it's very hard to keep up sometimes because my dad works, I think, 24/7.
That's why I don't force them into this business. If they want to go and do it, it must be something to their interest. They must feel, to me, I feel that when I do this business, I'm contributing to the nation. I'm contributing to Sarawak. I'm contributing to my staff.
The same care that Mr. Lim approaches his work is also reflected in the company's dedication towards helping Sarawak's community and environment. In addition to Sandrop's social and environmental mission, the company developed its lime juice flavor with aims to uplift small-scale calamansi farmers. As Sarawak continues to make its name in the global stage, local businesses like Sandrop are using their reach to promote Sarawak's art and culture through their products, starting with a Sarawak-inspired motif in its packaging. It took 2 generations for Sandrop to get to where it is today, so it's no surprise that the next generation has many expectations to meet.
So I think the pressure is that carry on their legacy and to carry what as hard as they did, but because it's already established, partly because of my parents, right now our effort now is trying to make it more recognized internationally.
In the past few years, they have been with the grandma, grandpa. They have been very hardworking. I think the children knows that even the father also very hardworking, every day come to the office.
In this company, I can tell you, nobody retire. When you tell your friend, you work until you feel that you don't want to work.
This is my first job, and I believe that this will be my last job too, when I retire.
Family and colleagues attribute his work ethic and leadership for rescuing the business from the verge of closure. But what does Mr. Lim attribute his success to?
I am reminded of our Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim. He went to jail 2 times. Everybody gave up on him. Even I also gave up on him at one time. But he managed to preserve. That's why I call perseverance. He never gave up the objective. So in our business also, we don't see any way of turning the company around because the obstacles were just too many. You have to go and do a new brand, you have to do the marketing. And the company was bleeding money, and all the creditors were cheating, everybody was saying, hey, we will close down tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Even my parents also say, give up. The message I want to pass is the most important factor in business success or any success is what I want to call perseverance.
Given time, perseverance and a new generation brimming with ideas, Sarawak, where a drop of sun illuminates the hopes and aspirations of its people, will continue to create ripples that extend far beyond its shores.